So I've been up for hours, but it's hours till, I don't know, we call it sunrise. There's no sun. I don't know what to call it. When it starts becoming lighter outside, I had hours to go. So I was like, fuck it. I've been up so long. I was going to go ahead and do this. Plus, it's kind of funny when I have anything to do. Like today, when I got up in the morning, it was just melting like crazy, which no sun. Because yesterday I was told, oh, you guys don't get the sun. It's going to take forever to melt. Because I'm like, well, it's 41 degrees and it's not melting. So, like a very small little drip, drip, drip. And it was like, oh, well, there's no, with no sun and all those trees, it's going to take forever to melt. So this morning when I got up, it's 43 and it's just pouring water. But that is going to lead us directly into the, back to the floods where they closed these roads. And I looked at the one road because I got to get to the vet. And so I looked again to see if it was open. And since I can't see, everything is such a pain. Like, you can't read books anymore. Just doing this crocheting is killer. And I know, I just feel so certain that with the different toxins that they, especially with this one, we've heard, attacks weak points in your body. And my eyes are weak point. And, all of these toxins is why people think that they are sick and go get tested. So, I feel like my eyes are just extremely, extremely being attacked. It's like, I can't believe how much worse they seem just over like the past 2 weeks or something. It's fucked. So fucked. But anyways, so when I got up, it was melting, like a whole lot. Oh, so I looked at the road, and before I couldn't really see. I just saw where it said closed, and I just, when I went with the floods, they had kind of like a, I don't know what it's called, like a washout or something, where all the water goes and it puts trees and shit over the road. So I don't know what that's called, but there's a lot of that, kind of like landslides or something. So that's what I figured. But this time when I looked, because I was like, why is it still closed? And when I pulled the picture up, it is like an earthquake on the road. The road's like split and okay, they can't get out to fix it. So, okay, they've cut us off on that road. I don't know when it's gonna, that road has had issues since, for months now, since they started with these weather attacks. So, anyways, that road, yeah, it looks like the road is split. And, like this. It's kind of like split. Well, probably bigger than that, like that. And then it's like 2 different levels. And they say it's closed unless you live on that road, which there's a lot of rural people who live on that road. So I don't even know. And the other one, it closes with the floods. There's so many river places. And last week when I went to the store, the rivers are all the way up at the top. And now it's starting to melt. So anyways, I was like, fuck, I got to go today because that road's going to be closed right away again. They're closing off all of our exits. They're so isolating us. And, I feel like we have to pay attention. Like, being aware that we're in an experiment. It's like, I'm paying attention to everything. Like, my eyes to be getting so much worse. And this morning it was dripping so much, and all my water things are empty. And I water the plants rainwater. So I was going to fill one, and I was like, oh my gosh, no way. I bet you this is so much chemicals as snow. I remember last year when I was seeing different footage of people getting the snow and melting or starting it on fire, and, it was burning. The snowball was turning black. That's plastics and stuff. So I don't know what all toxins and what all they need to carry their toxins. The transport system. They definitely use the weather as part of it. So I was like, fuck that. I'm not going to even gather this water. Probably if I took it in for testing, I bet it's just so full of chemicals. But where do you even find a legit lab? Because yesterday, another thing, I'm going to be all over the place because I've got all these different things I want to talk about. Yesterday, my doctor's office called me, I'd gone to get those labs. And I'm like, I do like the Mediterranean diet is basically, and Stephen Gundry, if you go in and read his stuff, what he talks about with our food and our system and stuff, it just makes sense to me. And the Mediterranean diet just feels right to me. Like I'm way heavy on the vegetables, olive oil, and I don't hardly eat any carbs. But some things are carbs. I think potatoes are carbs. I don't know all of the different. He even has a whole thing in the back of his book. But you got to find what works with your system. And so I eat potatoes. So if that's a carb, I eat those. But mostly just vegetables, and then some fish every once in a while. So that is, and the olive oil is supposed to be good. Remember I had said about that my cholesterol and stuff had gone down. Well, now all of a sudden, and they told me I didn't need to be fasting. So I'm going to go back and do it fasting, because they started telling me all of these levels are just like whacked out. They're telling me my sugar was too, this is what's weird. Okay, your sugar's too low. Okay, so if they're saying that this needed to be done fasting, right? So if you put that into the equation, so go get the labs, because I was in town and the roads were clear. So it was like, fuck, I better hurry up and do this. So went and did that. But I'd already had a cup of tea and a biscotti. Like I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And so I told him, I said, I'm not fasting, so I don't know. And he goes, okay, well, I don't think it matters, whatever. So, but remember, he was new too. He was having a hard time. And so so when they called, so she said, oh, you weren't fasting? And I was like, no, I wasn't fasting. So she goes, well, your blood sugar was low, because she was going to tell me I needed to eat more of something because my blood sugar was too low. Then I said, well, that's weird, because I just had a cup of tea and a biscotti. So shouldn't it have gone up? Shouldn't it be up? When you eat something sugary, your blood sugar goes up. And that's why with diabetics, they have a problem, and it can dive down and stuff. But normally your sugar would go up. So I was like, so isn't that kind of weird? And then if I'm fasting, shouldn't that be expected? If I was fasting, like, why would that be an issue? Like, your blood sugar is too low. So I thought that was weird. Then she said my cholesterol and my HDL and my LDL were just like way, way high. When she was giving me the numbers, it was like really super high. I was like, well, would that be different? Is that based on fasting? Is that the numbers if you're fasting? Or is that like if you're not fasting? Like, because it'll have a range. Like, it should be between 45 and 95, or between 110 and 175, something like that. It should be the range, in the lab things. And then, she's like, it's 278, and again, these really high numbers. So I was like, well, that's really weird, because, I wasn't fasting. So if I need to do it fasting, and that changes it, but shouldn't you have, different range? It's like, and it kept being so vague, like, well, writing this down. Okay, well, I'm going to tell her this. I'm going to tell her that. And I got to go back and do these fasting now, which is kind of, okay, so let me just keep going on this, because I don't want to go off on another thing. So with the blood sugar thing and the HDL, LDL and everything, that it didn't seem right, and didn't seem to match my other stuff. So then I was like, so I asked too why she's telling me all this stuff, and she's writing and doing all this stuff, like, but obviously, I don't know. She didn't say anything about the hep C, so I'm assuming that it still is fine. I don't see how you can have antibody. If your antibodies are working, then the virus is not in there, so I can't imagine that it could go away and then come back. If you got the antibodies are fighting it. That's part of the party in the blood system. When I was talking about the other day with the red blood cells, white blood, you have certain cells that show, that you've had something. That's how I found out I had mono and Epstein-Barr and all that stuff. because they can look at, you don't have certain things until you have it. So like I wouldn't have the antibodies for hep C until I had it. My body had to create the antibodies. That's why you need your body to be in optimal shape. You have to be taking good care of yourself because your body has a lot to do, especially when they're fucking hammering us with toxins. So, okay, so she's sitting there, scurrying, whatever she's doing, typing. It seemed like she was having a conversation with the doctor on the computer or something. It was the whole thing. Everything is weird. So I go, so have you guys had a lot of people dying? And it kind of like, it was weird because she kind of was just like, well, no, they don't really come here. Like, we're not doing that. We're not having them. No, we're not having people come here. We're moving more towards tele appointments. Oh my God, people. Can people see what's happening? It's so fucking... So they're moving towards tele appointments. All these doctors, that are still working, obviously. I mean, they're taking licenses away unless you follow the protocol. And so the ones that are working are obviously administratively pleasing to these people. So they are, continuing to work, but they have strong protocols and administrative designed, they're designing what they want to, how they want things to go. Like for the age of Aquarius, like we're going to be creating our own world because theirs is going to collapse. But when you keep seeing the shit that they're trying to do. So for one thing, I don't even know about the lab stuff. Are the lab tests even legit? Are they doing fucked up lab stuff to get us to go in? Are they doing things to direct us towards the hospital? Because it's really easy for people to be like, oh, I can't take care of myself. Oh, what do I do? What do I do? And then they're like, oh, you need to go to the hospital. The hospital is a killing center. That's the freaking, you want to think about the gas chambers? Go to the fucking hospital. That will go down in history as our gas chambers, man. And so to me, it was like, okay, so the administrators, because it's all the same entity. You think your doctor's office is separate from your hospital. It's not. It's all the fucking same CEO, administrator bullshit. It's all the fucking bureaucracy. So we got the doctor's offices. Well, we use fear. We can't let these sick people come in here. We got to just, we'll talk to you on the phone. We'll look at you and then we'll direct you towards the hospital. So there's going to be a lot of directing people towards the hospital. It just blew my freaking mind. Because when I had asked about, the other thing, when it very first started, because every year I have to do these insurance papers for being disabled, insurance does not, and I want to talk about that too. Because insurance is does not want to pay. And mine is long-term disability because I was a nurse that worked for the government at the time. So unfortunately, it gave me good insurance. But but they want you to fill these papers out all the time. So I have to go to the doctor. So in 2020, when I went to get the things done, I had asked the same question, and that was just in the start of all this, right? And she said, it was in they were telling us there's thousands dying a day. Trump's not doing a thing. Oh my God, we got hundreds of thousands dead each week. It's like, what? What the? Where are these people dying? So then, when I was at the doctor's, I asked, and they said, no, they haven't seen any. Then I got sent to the ER, and I asked there, and that wackadoo friggin' doctor, who's got and then got the face shield, who's telling me, oh, I believe in real science, because I was asking about the certain kind of things that you are not allowed to say the words, because they can cure you. So, that's not the agenda. They do not want us cured. So I had asked about that to the ER doctor, and that's not real science. I'm looking at him like, you waggy motherfucker. You are this scared little bitch. And you're going to tell me about real science? You don't even fucking know what the hell's going on, you weirdo. And I'm just like, oh my God. I can't believe how eye-opening all this has been to people's idiocracy. So I said, so I asked the nurse how many people had been dying, and she said that they hadn't seen any. That they had they had had a couple in the ICU, but that they hadn't seen people be dying and stuff. And then when I was in the waiting room waiting to go back, I had talked about this before, but it was like this guy had to be like close to 80. He was old as shit, and he was with his daughter, and she was super freaking. Because they were sending him home with the DX, the diagnosis, the killer disease. They were sending him home. So she was freaking, and it's like, oh God. So now though the agenda is, oh yeah, it's just too dangerous. We can't even see people in an office. You just need to go straight to the hospital. Go to the testing center, get your positive, your false positive. You gotta have that, and then you gotta run in, scurry in, because we will save you. It's outrageous how people don't freaking. This whole thing is just outrageous. It's so frustrating. Especially, you know, and I'm sure that my area is being hit a lot harder than some areas because I know I'm in the red zone. I mean, literally, when you walk around and you see couples out walking in the fucking fresh air with, it's like, okay, there's not a fucking person who's using their brain here. Oh, and I want to just throw this in there too, while speaking of the brain thing, because, you know, when I was talking about the brain, I always talk about being like a processor. It's like it's bringing in information. It's processing the information that's coming into us. And one thing is with my brain injury, I've noticed because when I have things to do, like I gotta go to the vet, I gotta do my recording, and I'll start being like, oh, I gotta do this. And my brain will start like going over and over and over and over it. Like it starts glitching out, like, what you gotta do. Don't forget. And it'll start like glitching out, and I have to constantly catch it, like, shut the fuck up. And then, I was gonna say, shut the fuck up, bitch. That's how I talk to myself sometimes. So then, the other thing too is like you think of your memory as being kind of like your memory, your data board or something, that, you know, that got all fucked up, and then the processor got all jacked up. So I feel like sometimes my brain kind of like glitches out or something on stuff like that. That's where I feel like you know, when it got broken, those are the things that it seems like you know, that they just kind of glitched it out. Like it kind of slows it down. Like I have to think about stuff. That's why I can wait on Stella and what she's got to think, because she's got a much slower process. If I tell her something, she'll listen, she'll understand, and she'll do what I say, but it takes her a minute to think of it. And that's why I think I'm like more like that. It takes me a minute. Like there's so many times people will be standing talking and somebody will say some joke or talk about something, and everybody's having a reaction, and I'm just like, you know, what? And, you know, sometimes I just blow it off. Like it just becomes, you know, it's just a little slow to the program, but whatever. It's not something that really fucking matters. You know, who fucking cares? Everybody fucking, do you remember any of those stupid ass jokes that people tell? You remember what other people think when you're talking at a party? No, it doesn't really fucking matter. So, you know, so I try not to get too hung up on the loss. And I just recognize a lot of the stuff that I lost, it just doesn't matter, that we hang up on. We just get so hung up on just stupid shit. But anyways, I just wanted to throw that in about the brain thing and about the processor thing, because I was thinking about that this morning. But anyways, back to the whole thing, you know, with the red zone. I knew that we would be getting hit hard. I knew the whole world was going to get hit hard with the weather and nature, because I knew that was where they were going to be. Like, nature doesn't even want you here. No, that's not it. They are manipulating nature. They are manipulating all of our, they're manipulating our reality, but they're manipulating in our atmosphere, but our, you know, the whole weather systems, the patterns, everything. They're just fucking with it, with doing these artificial shit. And the earth has its own cycles, you know. It goes through cycles just like nature. Everything in nature goes through cycles. So yeah, it's going through a cycle, but they're also manipulating. It wouldn't be like this if it wasn't for them. You know, just like here, I can see it so perfectly. You know, you drive 10 minutes down the road and there's not a damn bit of ice or snow or anything, where the illumination disc is heating up the freaking ground or whatever the hell they're doing with that thing. And I don't get what they're doing. If they're trying to block things, if they're actually putting down some sort of rays, because it really fucks with my eyes, really, really bad. And it's gotta hurt other people's eyes, but like I said, everybody just is like dragging their suitcase behind them. I deserve this. Oh yeah, life sucks. Because I was thinking even this morning, somebody who, what was it? It was something about somebody, you know, some kind of loss or something. And it's the same thing, you know, oh, life's just out to get me. Everything's fucked. I just never can get ahead. And all of that stuff that they create with this stuff, where people get in that mindset. They get in that mindset as a consciousness. They can create that for themselves, you know. I'm a piece of shit. Life sucks. All of that is all where you are directed to be. And they just keep taking shit away from you and blaming you. And we take it on, you know. So it's up to us to recognize our worth. You know, that's part of this awakening, is recognizing your worth. Recognizing this, you know, this fucked up system that they've trapped us in. But we're breaking free, so I don't want to say trapped. But there was something else I wanted to say about that too. I've got so many things in my mind. Well, another thing I wanted to say was that movie here, or the movie Hereafter. Another thing I thought was cool in it, and they keep showing that I had been talking about before I saw this movie, but since they show in the movie, I wanted to say, is because they have the living and the dead occupying the same space, but the two can't see each other. And that's what I was talking about, I think, a few days ago, when I was saying, you know, when you really start understanding, like, the reality, there's things all around us. It's just like a radio station. There's all sorts of things we are sharing, occupying this space. You know, when you think about space it's a manipulation of words, I think, but so space is shared and occupied by multiple realities. So that is how, like, if you do tune in, like in the movie, they were like telling the dead guy to squint really hard, and then he could see a living person, and he could just see him for a flash. And most of the living people can't see dead people, but it's a notice, it's a concentration, it's a realizing that it's there, you know. It's realizing that there's stuff around you, and then, you know, you start seeing little flashes. And you know, one thing too I thought was kind of trippy, you know, because I don't know all this traffic that's going on here all the time. You know, is this a portal? Am I really in another reality? Am I in the French Quarter? I don't know. But in this, what made me think about the portal thing is that in all these different realities that we have going everywhere, that there is spaces in. It's so weird, because we want to think of space as being like outer space, just this wide open space with stars and, you know, travel in a rocket and get to, you know, all this stuff. Space is space. It's just space. And, you know, giving space. It's like, think of space differently, I think. That's what I think. So in this, what was I going to say about the space? Damn it. It'll maybe come back to me. But the other thing too, with when I was saying yesterday about these different realities having having like in movies, how I have been noticing all these different kind of realities and thinking those are really legit experiences for a soul. So this morning when I got up, I was watching Stand By Me. I hadn't seen that in so long. And watching it again is kind of like, when I started, I was like, oh my God, let's see if I can get through this, knowing about what happened to these little boys while this was happening. And, you know, and I always have a problem about River Phoenix anyways, because he looks just like my brother, which is another weird thing in the movie. He's yelling at Corey Feldman, and he says, "You're going to die before you're 20." I was like, oh, that's creepy. That's just creepy. I've seen some really weird stuff. Like I was watching an old movie with Jim Carrey in it. And in that movie, it had things that were out of movies that he made in the future in his bedroom. I was like, what in the hell? That is so weird. There was a penguin in his bedroom, and there was also an umbrella hat. I don't know if I've already told y'all this. I might have just told my friend, but I was just like, oh my God, that's so weird. Like if you really watch movies, how much stuff is there that is showing the future? Like, oh, I don't know. That was trippy. But I thought that was trippy when River Phoenix said that. And another thing that is another weird thing is the town where they are is Castle Rock. I don't know. I find that very weird because we know that's where Joe lives. So, I don't know. Something weird. Oh, and there's some more weird stuff. So, one of the weird things too. So, in the period of time they're talking about this movie, so he's a small boy in the 50s. In that time, this was such a transitional time, and they've done this to us repeatedly, but after the war, there was, you know, a lot of, it was a different way that people were being raised. It was very different. And there was a lot of women who had to go to work. There was so many men killed. And when you watch that other Jim Carrey movie, The Majestic, and how they showed like in a small town, because this Castle Rock is a really small town. And in a small town, like a whole generation of men was taken away from that town. And I think that was a lot more of really what was going on. And they didn't show that at all in the thing. They showed that there was a lot of fucked up people and a lot of rowdy boys and stuff like that. But it didn't make a thing about that. You know, the one guy's dad who was on the beaches of Normandy, and then he ended up in the mental thing and trying to kill him and burn his ear off and all this stuff. That kind of after Vietnam, because my uncle who killed himself after Vietnam with the Agent Orange, because they've constantly been, this is what's super sad, is how much they have constantly tested and poisoned our young men. It's really fucked up. It's just so fucked up, these people. They just don't care about life, you know? And we get life and we get an opportunity to come here and experience, and they, you know, they interfere. But you don't go into any life without knowing what's going to happen. So we all go into it knowing that we're going to come out with a lot of lessons that we're going to learn. So everything has significance. But I thought that, you know, it's kind of weird how they didn't really show much of that. One of the things about showing significant things in people's experience in reincarnation, one of them was like his older brother, the loved brother, was the one killed. And so he had to live his life as with these parents who worshiped the kid who got killed. And that has been in a couple of different movies, you know. But that is a real legit experience the soul would go through. Think about how much you learn about yourself, the resilience, how much strength you have to find in yourself to get through some things. And then another one that they were showing too was, there was another one that really stood out to me. But I keep seeing that over and over, noticing like, oh my gosh, like as a soul, you would totally come in for these different experiences that they show us as being super tragic, and they give us a storyline and they show us these things as being so horrible, but really they're just books. They're just written stories. They're just stories for a soul to come in and experience. So it's just part of the It's part of the soul's experience. But another thing too that I thought was kind of weird, because back then, I don't, I don't think, I'm trying to think when people started traveling on airplanes all the time. But I know back then in this movie that there was a lot of people who rode the rails. And in the movie, the boys they're following the train tracks the whole way, and they have to spend the night and stuff to go find this dead body. And but really, there was a lot of people who rode the rails, just like, in the 60s when a lot of people hitchhiked, in the 70s. I used to hitchhike all the time. Me and my friends would hitchhike. I remember when that girl got her arms cut off. That is when everybody started going, fuck hitchhiking. Like, what the fuck? You get trapped in this person's car and they cut your damn arms off? That was really scary. But there was, that was the way that you got around back then. It was kind of like ride sharing, only it was like, hey, you're just out on the road, hey, I need a ride. And people would be like, oh yeah, we got room, get in. It was just the way people, got around back then. It wasn't creepy until predators started making it creepy. But before, there was a lot of travel with cars, because, there was a period of time when not everybody even had a car. I mean, there was a period of time when not everybody had a TV. So when they had, and they rode the rails, they were using the railroad to transport stuff across America. So that was a big thing. Once they had started settling America, which they first, set out the settlers and, to war with the indigenous, and so that they could gain control. And then they started sending out their slaves to make the trains. So they enslaved so many people to do that. And lots of people were being killed doing it. And they made all of these trains so that they could, use them to their advantage. So, and we've all needed them. I mean, there was a purpose. But I just think everything they've done has always been with a lack of concern for us. So, but it always is something for them to profit, because some of the stuff, think about it, some of the stuff that was being moved on trains, couldn't we have just had like Amazons in every city? Like, do we really need it to be transported? No. We just need every city to be its own progressive, independent thing, but that's not part of what they want. They want us to be reliant on them. So when they... the period of time, like after, I think it kind of started during the Depression, but a lot of people rode the rails. There was hobos, there was people that just ride them, just trying to look for a place to get food, and taking their families, just trying to find a place where things seemed like they might have been better. Because remember, there wasn't all of this information. People didn't know. Like being here right now, trapped in where I'm at, when I went to Bellingham and saw that there's like, it's completely dried up, and which yesterday they got attacked with the wind too. But it's a totally different reality that you don't even realize is there until you go out in it. So a lot of those people were having to go out and look and see like what's out there. Like, I need to go and see, is there other cities? Is there jobs out there? Can I find food? So it was a lot of people along the trains. There was a lot of people camping, and you can see it in other movies. A lot of people rode the lines, and it was dangerous to be sometimes out there by the trains, because there was these people they called hobos and stuff. And the hobos included, those are kind of like the early homeless people. So it was a lot of drunks, a lot of people who are crazy or whatever, or just had given up on life. And they could be dangerous. It was criminals who rode the lines. So I just thought it was kind of weird, because they have these 4 boys go out by themselves along the lines, and then they don't even encounter not even one hobo, not even nobody. I just thought, that's weird, because I would imagine really during that time, this was supposed to be, I think it was the early 50s, what he said, because he's supposed to be telling a story about his childhood in this movie. And I'm pretty sure it was in the early 50s, like 54 or something like that. And I would think along the railroad, there would still been, You know, people taking advantage of the free ride. So I don't know. I just thought it was just some weird stuff, you know, just knowing, you know, what some of the things that happened on that movie set and what they do, those little boys, and kind of made me, I think John Cusack's a good guy. I mean, I hope. I saw him once at a basketball game. It doesn't mean he's a good guy. I just, I don't know. I always just thought he seemed like James Spader too. I always thought because I didn't just see him. I've spoken to him, and he seemed like he was really a nice guy. But when I was watching Kiefer Sutherland, I was like, man, seems like he would hang out with Charlie Sheen. We know what Charlie Sheen did. Like, that guy likes little boy buds. Man, he likes anything. That guy, any hole will do for that dude. So then I was like, Kiefer Sutherland, but Donald Sutherland, see, he's always seemed kind of like pull away from the beast. I don't know. That's the thing, is like we just, you know, don't know who's good and who's bad. But, you know, watching that movie and it's just sad. I mean, Corey Feldman said the stuff that happened with some of these older guys. I don't think he said anything about him, but Charlie Sheen, he definitely said about Charlie Sheen in his documentary of what happened with Corey Haig. So, yeah. And then we saw, you know, what happened with Corey. I mean, he became a heroin addict, and you know, and I had just seen another guy. This guy's, I recognize him kind of, but I was seeing him on TikTok all the time, and he was, I think he said he's a comedian. I think he said he was a stand-up comedian, but I think he's an actor too. But he was talking about some shady shit. And he was saying about DiCaprio. Oh, my gosh. Stuff he was saying about him. Oh, my gosh. Complete opposite of Charlie Sheen. No, DiCaprio is just a victim. Oh, my gosh, it was fucked. The stuff he was saying. But, you know, also that opportunistic, like, you know, what will you do for $1? So, and that's a question we all get asked. It's in our heart and soul. And a lot of people don't listen. They just do whatever. They don't care. Other things make more sense to them than, you know, moral code. And, you know, I just think there's, I don't think there, I can't imagine. I don't want to judge other people's experiences. It's just, I have a hard time imagining that I would sell out. I just don't feel like I would sell out on things. I feel like that my value, I mean, I did in relationships. I sold myself out. I wasn't even on my own playlist. I was always on someone else's, you know. So it was selling out in a sense because I didn't value myself. So, you know, legitimately, I have no room to judge anybody on anything. You know, none of us do. We all have our weaknesses. We all have our points. So, you know, everybody has got their own demons to face. And everybody's going to be facing them when you face a dark night. Whenever it happens for each person. And, you know, and there could be some people, I think there's a lot. Personally, I think there's a lot of people who are awake, but still haven't faced their demons. They don't even know what's coming. Because I just like the people with religion. Like, I can't get my mom to budge. Like, she can recognize everything in this world is fake and manipulated. But you start talking about the Bible. Nope. Nope. God sent that. Like, well, who wrote it? Who edited it? So, yeah, that, I think a lot of people, that is going to put some people into some serious dark night of the soul. You know, they've relied their whole life on a Lord and Savior. So that is going to be a rough one. So I think there's a lot of people who are awake, who recognize, like, there's some fucked up shit going on. I mean, we got this Joe in a mask who's telling us what to do, destroying the world. We're sold out. We're being murdered. Like, all of this stuff. And they can see that. but they still can't see. As I said, it seems like so many people can see this or that, or a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but they just don't see the whole story yet. And I think the whole story is going to blow some fucking minds. And I think there is going to probably be mass suicide. There's going to be things that people are not going to be able to handle. And, and it's coming in. There's no getting around it. There's no way that this won't happen. Disclosure will happen. Moving into the new age will happen. It is, just like I've said before, it's like it's written. It's in the stars. It's going to happen. Just like, whatever, the illumination disc will be out today. But the only reason it's coming out is because it's expected, right? They wouldn't put it out there if we didn't expect it. They're just trying to throw us off. They put it out there because we expect there to be a sun that's going to come up. So they're going to make sure that we think there's a sun coming up. I don't know why or where or how. I don't know how there is, like, why isn't the real sun interfering with this one? Like, it's weird. Like, I don't get all of the stuff that's happening. But what was that? And I had seen another movie too, where there was some more life experiences, and I think that there is so many that are in movies showing us of all of these sad experiences, and I think that it's so much works towards getting people to hate life and hate themselves and hate the experience, and to see everything as so negative, because then you can blame God. So what's the better way to keep you from your real God is to make you hate and blame him for your shitty life. Really, your shitty life is being handed off to you by the creators of this reality. They are manipulating it and creating it for you, but they are directing you to hate this other guy. And that is also, that's what they do with everything, is that they are doing something like murdering, and then they're blaming something else and blaming someone else. Like, all the way they spin their stories, they have their media is like the Mockingbird media that just comes out and spins all their stories and directs us how they want us to see things and view our realities and stuff. They keep it. What is so crazy too is how many realities are just in their own experience, but the media is saying that the experience is completely different. So everybody thinks something else is going on there when in reality it's a different thing. That's why I talk about what's going on here, is because I don't know what the news is saying about it, but I'm going to put out the truth. I believe Anne Frank when she's like, you got to document this shit. Yeah, I think it is. We do. We got to remember this shit. We got to know what the hell's going on here. And another thing too is like recognizing with the experiment or whatever. Like last night, I think it was like later in the afternoon when I was saying like I feel like I need to go take a nap. It kept getting more and more heavier and heavier. Like I couldn't hold my eyes open. It really felt like you're being drugged. And, these different toxins and stuff, like I said, that are probably melting into our world that, I don't know. Or some of them, do they do that? With certain people, do they make you really tired? Because I'm telling you, it feels really like you're drugged. It feels like someone is, in the movies where they show like some people are in a room and then they spray that fog in there and all the people fall down and go to sleep. That's what it feels like they do here sometimes. I don't know that other people go to sleep. I'm not in their houses, and maybe they're not as affected. Maybe zombies are just zombieing out and don't even, I don't know. It just is weird. Like I don't know. But so last night I went to bed like at 8 o'clock. I could not. I was falling asleep, but I couldn't go to sleep. It also feels weird, like in my head, my eyes, all of it. Like it definitely feels weird and chemically. And the point this morning, I took an Epsom bath, and sometimes that really helps your joints and stuff to pull out some of the toxins, but there's still I just feel weird, like there's something weird. So I ordered some of that carbonite clay or whatever it is. It's what the magnetic people are saying to use to pull out some of these heavy metals and stuff. That's what they're using. So I ordered some of that, and it'll be coming, and I'm going to do some of those. I think you put like a little teaspoon of it in the, I'll have to look through my stuff. I write shit down, and I have no idea where I write it. People are always like, well, why don't you just write stuff down? Yeah, I do that. But then you still got to find where you write it. And I write. I've got, oh my gosh. Even my notes in my phone, you should see how many notes I have in my phone. Like, I write stuff, I just can't find it after I write it. And, but I think it was like 1 tablespoon or something in water. I'm sure you can find it. I'm sure there's tons of magnetic people are talking about it. If you're on Instagram, Twitter, any of those things, just find those people. They've formed a whole group. I saw them talking about it when I was on TikTok, that they have formed a group. I bet you can find them on YouTube, because they're trying to help each other, because that's all we got, you know? We got to help each other. You can't do much for helping people who are in zombie land, but, you know, we can go on here and speak to each other this way, you know, to the other people who are awake, who are, you know, can see something's up. And, you know, I think we got to just start noticing how much stuff is up. But it is kind of like preparing yourself for what's to come, because there's a lot of people who are not prepared. Doesn't matter how many times I've told my mom, she's going to be devastated when she finds out. Like, Jesus isn't coming, Mom. Jesus is not coming. That's not what's happening. I mean, if somebody's coming, it's probably going to be some freaking Anunnakis. And they probably haven't even aged a day since the time they created us. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that there's going to be, and I think it's coming fast. You know, I always say that. I always feel it, but I really do believe it is coming fast. I'm having great hopes now for January 20th. I do get hung up on dates. I do like, oh, please. And it'll come and go, and I'll be disappointed, and it'll be just like another message of like, quit getting hung up on dates. Doesn't mean something's not coming. And that's the same thing what I was talking about with time, where we have to just go into this kind of a, you know, an agreement with time. What is that? Yeah, like a surrender to time. But yeah, it is kind of like a contract or something of like an agreement with time. Like, you know, I agree to not stress out as I go through this, because I know that it all has a reason that it's happening this way, because destiny and fate are what life is about. There's so many people that get so caught up thinking like, if I just do this, I could change that. If I do this, I could do that. It's like, no, you are here. It's like, if you are on a ride, like on a roller coaster, could you turn your car and go a different way? No, you are on that life. That's the trajectory you're on. You are on that road. That life is the one you're living. So it's going to just play out the way it's going to play out. And, you know, we want to think like, oh, we've got all this control. And if I just learned this, if I just did this, if I just did that. No, your higher self's in control. It's driving the fucking car. You're just the one who's sitting behind the steering wheel. But they are guiding you through this, and we get so hung up on like, oh, which way should I go? What should I do? It's always going to be what you choose. You're going to choose the way you were always going to choose. And it wouldn't even matter if you chose the other, because it's going to be the same lessons. Like, I don't know to what, you know, degree. Like, I don't know. Is it every time that, you know, I get thirsty and I want to pick up a cup of tea? Is my higher self saying, hey, hydrate, you're not paying attention? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I do know that I am connected to my higher self, and I am listening to the consciousness that's all around us. I have an awareness that life is so much happening all around us. It's only what we focus on is what is present. So there's a lot that is, there's a lot to open up to us. As things close, there's so much more that opens. And, you know, and it's very exciting, and we are headed for such exciting times, and, you know, learning more about telepathy and I think I had seen these people on TikTok that were able to move things with their thoughts. They would use their fingers like a magician, "Whoa," but they're using their thoughts and moving stuff. And, we're all going to be able to keep practicing and doing that, because our consciousness has so much more abilities than what we believe it does. It's the limitations that they create that tell us that, and they do it so, like everything I've been talking about, that is all their creation, to direct us to believe that we're less than what we are, and to assist us in creating the life of being less than what we are. So, all of this stuff is, going to keep on crumbling away and blowing up, and there's going to still be something big that's going to happen. And with all the stuff, I mean, Putin is definitely on our side. And he's definitely pushing for, some exposure. Somebody's going to have to show who's in charge. And so, we've got that on the horizon. So a lot of stuff. And, I don't know. I still say it could be that Hawaii moment where they think, like, it's about to go. I got 10 minutes. That's it. And, that fucking wakes some people up. No doubt about it. So we got to see. It's going to be big, and it's going to be scary. And we see, like, it's got to be. Nothing's going to wake these people up until it is. They have to be affected, and nothing seems to affect them. Yesterday, my mom was talking, and she'll just get so, she gets so outraged. Like, the absurdity of some of this stuff. Oh, did you know now in New York that the illegals are allowed to vote? I was like, Mom, this is all just, it's all outrageous shit to just wake people up. This isn't going to be real. This is just to wake people up, and the absurdity that how outrageous that some of this stuff gets, and it doesn't even wake them up. It doesn't even penetrate. It doesn't even get them to snap loose of their, their autopilot directed, save myself kind of mentality. They're just, they're locked in. They're lock-in syndrome. So, all of the absurd stuff. But that is part of the thing where I think these people are going to be so humbled when they see, like, we're all sitting here like, what the fuck? This is going on and this is going on. And you don't even oh, that's okay. I'm not, just shut up. Don't tell me you're crazy stuff. It's like, oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, I just can't imagine coming out of this state of hypnosis and finding out what a real asshole I was and what a real, dingling and stuff. Because that's how a lot of them are going to feel. It's going to be humiliating. 100% it's going to be humiliating. But, we got to bring it on. And they're going to have to process. They're going to have to heal. That's what this is all about. And so it's coming. It's going to come. And it's going to be big. And it's going to be something that's going to be scary. So for all of us, we just got to, just like this, I've got to just keep going day by day and just know, hey, I'll get through this day. I will get through this day. And today I've got things to do. Like, I got to get out on the road. I got to try and drive down this treacherous freaking, to get more medicine for Stella. And it's like, oh my gosh. The other day when I went to the weed store to get her RSO, I got 3 syringes. So hopefully that would last for a month. I don't know. Depends. Like, she's having such a hard time. I made the mistake of taking her in the car with me. And I really wanted to go and just travel with her. I just got to get her in a warmer climate. I just feel so much more optimistic about that. And I know she's losing weight. She's got a lot of neck rolls still, but I'm just going to keep working on it. I really feel like the change of climate, but I took her in the car because I get all freaked out. Like, oh my God, what if I can't even get home? I'm like codependent with her. And, then when, we got home, she hasn't been able to walk since. Like, it really fucked her up. Driving in the car, like, I have to get a van or a camper, and then I have to put a bed in it for or something, because I really want to, I've got to get out of here. And I wanted to say about the insurance too, is, so when I was looking at the road closure things, and then went on the homepage, whatever, Whatcom County, whatever it is, county government page shit. And it says something about the floods and insurance. If you don't have flood insurance, I was like, see, they fuck these people over and over and over. And that's what, when I very first moved in and the pipe busted, and the insurance came out, they're like, oh, no, water damage, nope, that's not our deal. And that's when the neighbors, then theirs busted. And I said, well, good luck with yours, but my insurance said, fuck off. And I feel like that a lot of these people, I'm telling you, all their shit was in the roads. I mean, there's cars in the fields. It's a fucking mess. And insurance is going to fuck these people. And that is the awakening. Getting fucked. Waking up to who's fucking you. That is it. That is it. And, they're all going to be going through it. But yeah, the insurance is not here to help us. They're here to just, rampage us. Their whole thing is, oh, well, you should have just got the better insurance, I guess, and then we all feel like, oh, God, we didn't do it right. We failed again. God, I'm so stupid. We just attack ourselves. And it's the system. It's the system we're fighting. And the more that we will be vulnerable and admit to each other that we're being fucked, the more that we can come together and go, oh, they're fucking us all? Oh, man, they're busy, aren't they? It's not just me. It's not just me getting sore. It's them, everybody in the whole fucking planet. So, but we have to put ourselves out there and we have to admit what's happening in our lives. And so many people want to just pretend like they're perfect and they want to put on filter faces and act like everything is all cool and they live the best lives and put pictures of their vacations up. It's like, no, people, that's not real life, is it? So, there was another thing I was going to say about the, was the insurance. What I was going to say about so what I want to do is because I got to get the fuck out of here. And there's so much more stuff getting damaged. And I'm going to try and probably put in, and once it melts and stuff and I see, yesterday when I went out, I was so bummed. I went out and I had, at the beginning of this, I had like 2 kind of lean-to things and I had like a bunch of wood under it for doing projects that I had gathered when I was doing the decks and stuff. Because I was going over and getting out of the wood pile at the construction site. So I had a bunch of wood and the lean-to things busted and my bike was under there. And it was like tarp roof. And so it came down, it ripped, and then it came down. And I didn't even park my car into the carport because it looks like it's about to do the same thing. And my carport's brand new. These tarps were brand new. So when it went down, it went over my bike. So I'm hoping that my bike is okay, but it's like, fuck. That sucks. I'm so sick of all this stuff. And I know people are having it so much worse. Than having their bike and then their lean-to and stuff. I mean, people are losing all their stuff. What was I going to say? It was something with the stuff breaking, I think. Oh, so I want to, I will check with the insurance because I did something to my porch where it's all fucked up and I've got to get that fixed. But I don't want to be here. I'm so tired of being around all these people. It's just not my people, no harm, no foul, they live their lives and they've got their people. They're just not my people. And, so I want to get the hell out of here. And I want to do my Airbnb or something. I want to see about, because I don't want to just do Airbnb, because Airbnb seems kind of like the Florida spring break of travel home things. Like you get people who just come in just to party and tear your shit up. I've heard of so many stories of people's stuff getting stolen. So I want to get more like in a travel kind of group thing. And I have one on Instagram, so I'm going to look into that, where it's like a kind of like a club where you open your house up so people can go and travel and go there. So I want to kind of do that and then go and travel and get a camper or something and just get out of here. And while hopefully I can get a lot of work done on the house while I'm not here. But I just, oh my God, I'm so, once it becomes spring, we're going to go right into the the floods and the windstorms. They hit hard with the windstorms, and it takes down the trees, and it crashes houses, trashes cars, it kills people. And, that's definitely what they're going to do. They keep doing these little wind things. And then the floods, they're going to blame it on all of the ice and snow that's melting. And we've got rain nonstop for the next week, for as far as you can see on the weather thing. I mean, who knows what the weeks are after, because it's going into spring, which is the rainy time here. This is just mental. And so now I'll just wait and see. Today, I'm just going to go drive down there, see what it really is like, and go in that direction. And go by the wood guy's house, leave him a note, and see if he will come and deliver me wood. I can't believe how many people, like, we want to think all these controllers and stuff are assholes, and they've been fucking us and all this for all this time. But, I mean, there's so many people that play along with the program. Have no moral compass, just, they're just out to fuck whoever they can, too. That's not the controllers. That's each individual person. It's us that makes that change. It's us. We are the change. When we start treating each other better and start giving each other more respect, that's when things will change. But I can't even believe how many rip-off wood people are out here. And the scam has got to be that they get people to either pay ahead and then don't deliver, or that they come and deliver at night and then just drop off some green shitty wood and don't give you the full amount or something. Because the only ones that they're always saying they want to come at night, but then they don't even show up. So, I don't know. There's some kind of scam. I'm not really sure. Because then I just start calling them out on them, from the get, right after the first one. Once you see through it, and then I just start saying, call them out. And then, you find out faster. It's a much quicker process. If you call somebody out, then you find out. You don't have to play the game for too long. And then for there to be this many, it's like, okay, this is like some kind of scam going here. So, I don't know. But we're surrounded by scammers. We're surrounded by assholes. It's not just the controllers. Assholes come in every freaking shape and size. So, but for the world we want and the world we will have, it's us that make the change. And those of us who do make the change, those of us who do grow, those of us who do, focus on making things better, they will become better for us. And the people who want to continue in that direction that they've got themselves going, they are going to not be with us anymore. There's going to be a division. It's not going to just be like this. There's going to be an end to the tyranny. It's not going to exist in our reality. Maybe that reality is going to continue. I heard that that's one of the reasons why they're using that word that you can't say that has look, and then you put ing on the end, and then it's called that thing that you have in Windows that they don't want us talking about, that in Joe, the bad team, I was going to say the A team, but they're the bad team, the bad people, that they are using it to try and change. I think that's part of one of the reasons why we keep having weird Mandela effects or timeline weird things happening or whatever, because they're trying to manipulate it so that they can continue to exist, because by 2045 they no longer exist. None of them. They can't find themselves. When they look in there, they're gone, and they completely are not there. So I don't know if this isn't going to go till 2045 with us. That's not going to be the thing. But once we split apart, once we go into the age of Aquarius, it is, maybe they're going to continue on a rotten planet until they kill themselves, or maybe they're going to go on a ship. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how everything's going to happen, and I don't know how we're going to experience everything, since it's all kind of an illusion and this is about consciousness. It's hard to even grasp how you know, it's hard for me to even grasp how is the sun and sky looking different for us all and stuff. Like the whole thing is just weird. So we just got to see and keep going. And, you know, just like I said, each day, just get up in the morning and put your intention out there. Like, I'm going to get through this day. I'm going to face this day head on. I'm going to focus on my healing. I'm going to focus on myself every time I get triggered. And I'm not going to try and change anybody else. I'm going to let the universe take care of that. You know, the universe is doing their job. And I think we're seeing it all. I think it's being clear. I think it's very clear that stuff is happening for all of these people. So anyways, I've talked for a really long time, and I don't even know if I covered everything. There was so much stuff that was coming to me. I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta just go talk about this. It starts feeling like my brain's full. I gotta shake it out. Release the information. So anyways, that's kind of what I got for you today. I might be back. We'll see. I'll see what the treacherous drive is like. I might have to give some updates on what the world is like outside of this little Twilight Zone snow globe. So have a great day, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.